Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, Nicolas Cage has been an icon for Hollywood for literal generations, boys and girls. It's one of those guys, this guy has been around since my childhood. My grandparents remembered him coming up in the era, and he's just one of those guys that, whether you enjoy every one of his movies, you have to admit that the characters he plays and the way he pulls things off, from the kind of ideas of being able to do from Leaving Las Vegas all the way to Ghost Rider and still being able to at least halfway decently pull off those roles so very well, especially the Leaving Las Vegas. Holy cow, that was amazing. And honestly, he did a good job as Ghost Rider, and I enjoyed the fact that he was so passionate about the character in one of them situations. Well, his next iteration is none other than, of course, the Spider-Man Noir that's coming from the Amazon Studios. And this should be a very interesting take on the character. This is something we've never seen in animation before, and seeing Nicolas Cage do it and kind of continue on his character from the Spider-Verse movies, I think is actually really cool. And I love Nicolas Cage, and I love Spider-Man. I'm down for the Spider-Man universe, and I think if you're going to do Spider-Man Noir, Nicolas Cage is probably a great choice for that kind of thing. So that is what's currently going on. That's the current status. Well, because of this is what's going on, and because of all the crazy stuff that's been going on with AI lately and body scans, well, our dear sweet Nicolas Cage is absolutely freaking out over this a bit, because there has been going through a lot of these kind of scans, and he is terrified of what people might do with these scans and with the future of AI and deep fakes and the kind of repurposing they might do with this kind of stuff in the future. And he is absolutely not a fan of it in any way, shape, or form, boys and girls. And that's exactly what we've got here right now, because he asks, what are you going to do with my body and my face when I'm dead? And I think this is a legitimate concern. I think this is a legitimate question for not only a lot of Hollywood actors and people in the mainstream media and people in any kind of the internet facing personalities and stuff like that, but even just your average person out there. We know that Facebook and Snapchat and all of the rest, and Instagram and all the rest of these things, the reason why those filters work is because they're literally taking 3D models of your face. They're capturing all of your data points and collecting exactly what your face looks like, so they can theoretically, so they can recreate it later on. And that's exactly what we've got going on right here. And our dear sweet Nicolas Cage is freaking out over it. So we're going to check out this article from Bounty Comics, get into all the juicy details of what he has said, and also some of the very interesting things he said about the new Spider-Man movie and what kind of fantasy stuff he will be facing in that kind of thing. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe if you are, subscribe or follow if you are not already, because even on Rumble and on YouTube, both, we are getting closer and closer to 800 followers and subscribers, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you think about things, whether you're in the live chat catching this live while we go over these news stories, or if you're going down there and catching this on the replay in the video format that a lot of you seem to love. So, Spider-Man Noir star Nicolas Cage says he doesn't trust Hollywood with AI. I mean, does anybody trust Hollywood with anything at this point? I mean, let's be completely honest, folks. What are you going to do with my body and my face when I'm dead? So from Bounty Comics is a George Aranius. Like many creatives and the stars of Amazon's upcoming Spider-Man Noir series, Nicolas Cage has some noted fears about the film industry's use of AI. Cage expressed his concerns on the subject during a recent interview given to the New Yorker's Susan Orlean. Amidst a wide discussion with Orlean, ranging from his excitement towards his leading role in the aforementioned Spider-Man spinoff as a hard-boiled incarnation of Peter Parker to his outlook for the future, Cage was at one point interrupted by his publicist, who interjected to remind the actor of his next appointment was fast approaching. And some of the other things he said in this article, I actually read out the article on one of our live streams, was talking about how he's very excited about doing this because he doesn't like seeing people hurt other people, and in this show and in this movie and in this series, it's going to be more fantasy. He's actually going to be going up against monsters versus actual people and villains and that kind of stuff like that. So he's excited about that kind of stuff too. So he says, I have to slip out after this to get to a scan done for Spider-Man Noir, and they also for the movie I'm doing after the show. 2 scans in one day. Asked as to what the project's productions teams were going to do with his scans, Cage has his tone light but carrying a note of resignation. Detailed, well, they have to put me in a computer and match my eye color and change, I don't know. They're just going to steal my body and do whatever they want with it via digital AI. God, I hope I am not AI. I am terrified of that. I have been very vocal about that. And I think that's an important thing to do. These actors and these actresses that are in these big time roles that are going out there, and even just the average, extra out there. This has been another issue with the extras that came up with a lot of the union negotiations and stuff like that, is even if you're an extra going into this kind of stuff, you need to make it very clear that they do not have the right to use your image and likeness in perpetuity. Because that's what some of these studios were trying to do, try to pay people for like $300 or $400 for like a single day or whatever the going rate was, do a full body scan of them and use them forever as an extra, just as a place background purpose. So basically eliminating the need to hire an extra. You need to make this kind of thing very clear to your family, to your friends, to your audience, to your fans. You need to make sure everyone knows that you do not want people using your likeness like this going forward if this is something you don't want to do. And honestly, I don't blame anybody. God only knows. There's actually a great Babylon 5 episode of all things that actually showed what they were trying to do with a digital scan of someone. And boys and girls, that was supposed to be thousands of years in the future. That's a series from like 1990s. Okay. They were able to do that now. Need to make your wishes known very, very well right now. And as you can see, Dead by Daylight, that's just in a video game. That's just in a video game. You've seen the realism that's come out of AI now. From there, met by the observation from Orleans that the entire concept was really scary, the Oscar-winning actor proceeded to extrapolate his concerns beyond AI's application in Hollywood and began to ponder on the philosophical implications of sex technologies, particularly in terms of artistic integrity and personal legacy. It is, he agreed. It makes me wonder, where will the truth of the artist end up? Is it going to be replaced? Is it going to be transmorgified? Where's the heartbeat going to be? I mean, what are you going to do with my body and my face when I'm dead? I don't want you to do anything with it. And that's completely understandable. You have the right as a person to decide what you want done with your body, right? You can make a will out. You can become an organ donor. You can leave your body to science. You can have yourself cremated. You can have yourself turned into a tree. Like whatever you do, that is your right as a human being, as a God-given, as a God-created, beautiful individual being. You have the right to your own bodily autonomy. You should be able to decide what is done with that. The same should go for your image and likeness. That is a representation of you, and no one should be able to abuse that or use that against your will in the future to want to like make things. I mean, imagine this, what's going forward. Imagine if they thought they could get away with it, Walt Disney would absolutely use an artificial intelligence version, made up version, digitized version of Walt Disney to come out there and agree with all of their agenda-driven stuff. I guarantee you, if they thought they could get away with it, they would. And watch them try to bury Disney's memory for long enough going forward to where they could come out in the future and do something like that. Tell me they wouldn't do it if they could get away with it right now, boys and girls. Per Cage himself, this is not the first time the actor has publicly weighed in on the matter. Well, first of all, let me say that I don't want anyone to be doing anything with my likeness when I'm gone. The actor told Wired during a 23 interview. Whoever's in charge of my estate will make sure of that. But while I'm alive, if we have an agreement and you want to use my image as an art form and I can have some sort of collaboration with it, maybe there's a conversation to be had. The most interesting use of AI that I've ever read about, and I'm still not entirely sure how it works, but it's to communicate with other species. They were talking about whales and how if we can put the whale sounds in and correlate and respond the whale sounds to their actions, that the artificial intelligence will be able to crack the code to their languages and that we can speak with them. That was interesting. But in terms of taking a work of art and appropriating it with a robot, yeah, that's not okay in my book. And I agree with him. I think that's completely and totally understandable. This is something that everybody needs to make sure that they know. Keanu Reeves agrees with this kind of thing, losing your agency, and that's the problem of it. You lose control. You lose control of who you are. You lose control of yourself, and that is something that is just absolutely ridiculous and absolutely unnecessary. So I'm glad to see that he's speaking out. I'm glad to see more actors and more actresses coming out and making a word about this, because this is something that needs to be understood. Everyone needs to understand that that is what is going on. When you put yourself into these systems, when you have yourself recorded, when you use these filters, when you use these Snapchat things, that's what they are doing. They are garnering all of your facial recognition information, and there is no telling what they will do with it in the future unless everyone makes their wishes and understanding and makes sure their wishes and their wants very well known to everyone around them. And fortunately enough, Nicolas Cage is going to go out there and do that kind of thing. I'm excited to see how well he can pull off things off in Spider-Man Noir. I'm hoping Amazon doesn't just completely shit the bucket like they have done so many times in the past. And you know what? Nicolas Cage is right. Don't use my nonsense after I'm dead.